Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Just for the sake of continuity, I will just give some brief summary of what we discussed yesterday, so that we all recollect. Swami has told us that the best seva which we can do is to derive joy by putting into practice whatever he has taught. And he says when we derive joy from such a practice, that becomes the food for Swami. The bliss is the food for Swami. And he says if all of us practice these teachings in our lives, the world will not have any problem. And everyone in this world can put into practice this teaching that this world is not real. Only God is real. And I think that has been the underlying message of Swami's talk. And he says, if this is put into practice in our lives, we will derive joy, and thereby all the problems in this world will go away. With these thoughts, I will ask Sister Kalyani to read on. Sai Ram, Sister.
Swami, to practice the divine words too, the Lord's grace is the basic need, just as for everything else. Without that, nothing can happen. It is ever present, as you said. Just as the sun is hidden by fog, grace can be obstructed by the darkness of eye and mind. But these can be overcome by practice and discipline. That is why if we understand well the meaning of what we hear and follow, it is so easy. This is my experience. I do not know of others. Swami, true. What you say is correct. You have understood it well. Without grasping the meaning, if various interpretations are given, that distorts reality. And if a wrong sense is imputed, it falsifies reality. But if it is clearly understood, practice becomes easy. Now consider this. Are all born at the same time? Do all die at the same time? Similarly, the highest wisdom will dawn in this person or that at different times. If you go on singing song after song, you learn music. So also, if I speak and continue speaking, all will understand the reality. It is not my mission to keep silent because people are not understanding. To such, it must be communicated once, twice, and more times if necessary.
Thank you very much, Sister. I think there's not much by way of explanation which I have to say here. As Swami has said, divine grace is always present, but it is hidden from us, just the way sun is hidden, because we think of I and mine. And Swami also goes on to say about, I think, one of the points which we discussed last time, that if the entire world practices, there won't be a problem in the world. And Swami sort of, I think, to clarify that, he says, all people not at the same time, no die at the same time. That means everyone will not come to the same point at the same time. Different people will come to it at different points in time. I think it's something which Swami is elaborating here. With those thoughts of mine, I will open it up to everyone to share your thoughts and what strikes you in these two passages which we just read. Saira. I think there is silence. I think just to not allow the silence to continue, I will keep on saying something. Anyone can interrupt at any point, please. I think one of the points which Swami said, that is why if we understand well the meaning of what we hear and follow, it is so easy. I think that's what the Bhakta is saying, though Swami has written as the Bhakta. I think that clarity with which we understand whatever we hear from Swami, I think he says is important. And then Swami also is discussing that further. He says in Swami's answer, without grasping the meaning, if various interpretations are given, that distorts reality, Swami says. And so I think he says we should understand and grasp the meaning of what he says. And then he goes on to say, don't worry about others' understanding, I think. He says, that's what he's saying, all are not born at the same time. All progress at different times, at different speed, I guess. And Swami says he's not going to stop. He's going to communicate again and again and again until we get it. I think Swami communicates to us in very different ways. One is maybe just through these Vahinis, but I think he also communicates to us through experiences which we get in this world. It can be good experiences, it can be bad experiences, it can be happy experiences, it can be troubling experiences. But I think through all that, he communicates to us once, twice, and many times until we get it, I think. Those are some of the thoughts which came to me. I again have a pause here. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
Maybe just a question about what Swami says there. The grace can be obstructed by the darkness of I and mind, but these can be overcome by practice and discipline. Is there any specific practice or discipline that can help overcome that? Because I guess that's something that I found quite difficult. Like even if we make every act an offering to God, you still have the sense that like this mind and body is what is doing the act and offering it to God. So is there any practical, I guess, way to help reduce that identification with the body?
I think thank you, Sister, for asking. Anyone who would like to comment on what Sister has asked? How do we practice removing the darkness of I and mind? And is there any specifics which Swami has talked about?
Om Sri Sai Ram. This is Shivani. From what I understand and what I practice is with continuous curiosity, anxiety, to learn more the correct meaning of what Bhagawan has said. That desire has to be there, continuous desire to learn, to understand, to get in depth of what exactly he's saying. Maybe it's a one message. It has helped me to really understand what I understood about the truth he has said, and now what I understand what he meant by real truth. Identify your real truth is very different 5 years ago versus now. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to say something, please? How do we practice removing this fog of I and mind? And anyway, practical examples is what Sister asking.
Sai Ram, this is the way I practice to remove I and mind, or whatever the ego I would be having in my mind if I have it. Maybe whatever even if it is practically, even if it is a promotion or something, I would say that Swami, thank you. You have given me as a prasadam for me, whatever the work I have wholeheartedly done it for you. And even if I have been demoted, or if I didn't get whatever I have been put my effort and time, I would tell Swami, maybe my effort or time, it may not be enough to do the maybe results successfully. That's why even if it is a good time or bad time or promotion time or demotion time, I would say that everything what I get it, that's the prasadam. That's not really with my education and the skill sets or the outstanding work or anything I will get, that is the prasadam from my Almighty. If we practice that sort of thing, then we would be in a balancing situation. That's my practicing about Swami's teaching on my the work as well as in the spiritual line. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to say something? Yes.
Ram, I would like to comment on this. I want to give my thought on this one. Like any act we do, we have to offer it as Swami has given this opportunity to perform this task, and we offer it as a naivedyam, and the results we get as a prasadam, we should consider as a prasadam. Then we don't have this I and mine attitude within us. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
Sairam, if I can think of two things that Swami keeps repeatedly said. You are not one person but three. The one you think you are, the one others think you are, and the other one, the last one is the one you really are. That is BMI, body, mind, intellect aspect. We are God, but we don't realize. Swami, in a group of many times asked in an interview room, who are you? Maybe about many of them. Who are you? I'm an engineer, doctor, Japanese, American. You said, Swami said, all of you are wrong. You must have said, I am God. And Swami keeps saying that many times. And I am God and you are God too. But only difference is I know who I am. You don't know. You haven't realized it yet. So I thought I mentioned it. We have to realize ourselves that we are God and act like that. One day we will realize we are God. Sai.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Sai Ram, anyone else would like to say something, please?
Sai Ram. Oh, okay, go ahead. Sai Ram, brother, Raju over here.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, when we are doing something that for Swami's sake, we always think that Swami gives that opportunities, and we pray to Swami that you are doing for me. I am like your instrument. Thanks to Swami. Everything we do that Swami's name, not taking that ourselves, that we are doing that. This is Swami doing to ourselves. Every work. Then we don't have to get any self ownership for that things. And when we are doing this, that we don't have to take any ownership for that. We all go to the Swami's name, and everything's go to Swami. Then we are free from any eye and mind that will work. Thank you, Sarah.
Sai Ram. Anyone, Sai, Brother Sivadas, you can.
Sai Ram, to add to Surya Kumar's comment, actually, Baba used to say the 3/4 of spiritual sadhana is spiritual inquiry. And in chapter 5 of this Sandeha Nivarini, Baba deals with that, chapter 5 and 6 like that. So, I am not the body, I am not the intellect, I am not the mind, I am not the memory chitta, I am not any of these. So, that spiritual inquiry, when you do more and more spiritual inquiry, diving into ourselves, then naturally eye and mind started to recede, and that is a way of getting rid of eye and mind through spiritual inquiry. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you, brother. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
So, Sai Ram, when I look at the Swami's answer, the last two sentences, it was I was attracted by those two sentences at the end. It is not my mission to keep silent because of people are not understanding. To such, it must be communicated once, twice, or more times if necessary. So, say for an example, if it is a Sai center, even the people may not understand some of the Swami's teachings, but we have to tell them maybe frequently maybe sometimes people would say maybe the Sai Ram sister, we don't understand this one. So in such a case, we have to repetitively tell them okay, this is the one they don't understand. Then again you tell them, oh, in this world, or maybe in this current world, people may be thinking that I don't understand why you are trying to tell me again and again. And in one of my dreams, I also asked Swami way back in 20 years ago. Swami was trying to tell me something in my dream. And I told Swami, I don't understand a single word you are trying to tell me. And then why you are trying? Swami kicked on my head 3 times. Keep silent and just listen. And one day you would understand this one. Someone will be coming and explaining you in a simple language. Even at the time, I didn't even know the Vedanta or anything. I asked, Swami, you're trying to tell me something. Is it Vedantam? I don't understand anything. In my mind, I thought, I know English, I know Tamil. This is not that language. This is something else. I told Swami 3 times, Swami, leave me alone. I don't understand anything. Swami saying again and again. Only that portion I was able to understand. Please be silent. Please listen to me, what I am saying. That's all he said. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone?
Sai Ram. One time that in the footpath, 2 elderly devotees are discussing that one is asking, you don't go to Swami's after discourse. He said, other one said, no, Swami is always talking the same thing. Why we are going to waste our time? Then the Swami finished his discourse and coming back and met these 2 devotees. And the person that Swami was telling that the devotee, and you are listening my discourse all the time. I know that, but until you put into practice, I have to keep telling that again and again. Swami said, that we are not listening, that Swami's teaching is not enough. We have to put into practice. That Swami says that. Yeah, that's what I can say again. Thanks.
Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, brother. I just want to add to Sister Anandi's comment in regards to silent. Obviously, I think everyone has to follow that, because our interpretation of sometimes we are taking into thinking is much different from what is the real thing is. So when there is a different opinion comes, it's better to keep silent and give some days and think about it and try to understand different perspectives. Then you will can go closer to understand the right thing. Still, I think right thing also, by practicing you will understand different. So it's keep practicing, every time is different. So it's not going to be one and what you think. It's really, I think it will change by practicing every time. You will realize something different. So I will say the realizing part will be more in depth than what you have learned at the beginning. So always the interpretation is going to be different with your understanding each time. Just my thoughts here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. So I think I will take I will try to see what I can say to Sister Kalyani's question. I think the problem is the I and the mind will always be there till we die. It's not going to go away. Just like the clouds which come on the sky, they're going to come again and again. And I think we have to make, that's why Swami says practice. Until a point comes that it's not there and it's not going to block the light from God. I think there are a couple of ways I think we can try. I think the first test, if I and mind are affecting our view, is if we feel sad at any point in time because of some worldly event, and then we should know that that is because there's I and mind involved. Because if we don't have those two, we will be happy. So I think it's always easy to identify the I and mind when we are sad about something in life. So as soon as that happens, that's an opportunity for us to see, evaluate or analyze what is causing me to be sad. So it has to be I and mind. There's nothing else in this world which will cause me to be sad. So then once we know that, then we can find what exactly is the way the I and mind are creeping into our thinking process. Ultimately, our thinking process is what causes sadness, sorrow. So we should, I think that's the best opportunity in this world is when we are sad. When we are happy, sometimes we are happy because of I and mind. But those also sometimes we can fool ourselves saying that, oh, it's because we have done this for Swami, we are happy. So it is a very tricky time to identify I and mind. But it's easy when we are sad or upset about anything in life to see where exactly is I and mind coming into my consciousness. And then it's an opportunity for us to remove it, is the way I think. And another thing is, when I think Sister Anthi was talking about, we are telling somebody and, people are not understanding. We have to keep on repeating to say that. I think that's also a good opportunity, because what happens is sometimes we think we have understood. I think that is it. One thing is for Swami to say he's going to tell again and again. And the other thing is for us to say we are going to tell again and again. Because if you go to any organization or in the world, everyone feels that what they are telling is right. If you ask, even all these religious wars, the wars in the name of religion, not religious wars, I'm sorry. The wars in the name of religion, the wars in the name of language, the wars in the names of caste, or any difference. is because everyone, the people who are fighting, think that what they're thinking is right. And it has come to a point where they can't bear others not understanding it, so they've taken to arms to fight. So I think that is a very big trap or hurdle which we can all fall into. So I think the first thing is for us to reach a point of place where we have perfected the practice so much that I think it gives us joy which is not interrupted by anything. And I think at that point, I think we can attempt to tell others again and again. We can tell once, even if we feel something. I think it's good for us to tell. But I think we also should be careful that we don't fall into the trap of a wrong interpretation ourselves, because our understanding may not be complete. As Sister Aruna said, the more we practice, the more clarity we will derive. Is what I think. I think that's my way of thinking about it. I think every person here who shared their thoughts have given some way of identifying I and mine and removing it. I think we all can choose and put all of these into practice and derive joy. Saira. If there's no further thoughts or comments or questions, I think we could proceed. We'll wait for 10 seconds and then Sister Kalyani will.
Sairam, brother. So whatever we have discussed, so when we know that I and me, that we should not sad any circumstances. So that means if you are saying any namaswarnam, or if you are doing anything, any circumstances, we should not stop that one. We have to, our tongue supposed to be dance all the time. If any problems come, we have to have the faith. That's what I think Swami is saying about the discipline, I think. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sairam, I would like to, Sairam, I would like to say that silence is not only a vocal cord silence. It's not the mouth you have to silence. It's the silence of the mind. And once the silence of the mind is there, then if it is silent and it's empty, you can understand far more what Swami says. It's like going for an exam to a school. How many times we review? How many times in the whole 12 months? We keep reviewing the same subject, same courses, what the professor had told. But finally, when we go for the exam, then we've done everything. It's only applying the mind. It's not the body. It's silence of the vocal cord. And that's what I wanted to comment. And I think understanding becomes much easier. And even in school or college, when we go, we have some doubts. We always put a question to the professor. So we question our gurus, our mentors, and they will clarify furthermore. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you.
Sairam, after Jesus Christ's life, he came the largest religion in the world. He lived a life of love. That was possible. He, Swami keeps saying, the cross. After crossing the I, when we have ego, we cannot practice love. So get rid of the I and think that we all are same. Jesus Christ and Swami lived among us with the message of love. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brothers. Thank you. I think Sairam, Sister Kalyani, I think you could read on.
Bhakta. Swami, we are like lumps of iron. The Lord is a magnet. Both are related to each other. But if that lump of iron has to be changed into an article of use in God's hands, it has to be heated in the fire of anxiety and beaten by the hammer of pain so that it may obey and respond. So in order to shape lumps of iron like us into instruments, you have to take much trouble. You have said that this is your mission. Now please, tell me more about the chit which you mentioned last month. Swami, yes, chit has also another name, Suddha Sattva, pure consciousness. It is as opposed to the impure consciousness, as vidya is to avidya. Impure consciousness is inherent in the pure, as much as darkness is inherent in the light. Since many words are spoken, don't get confused, my dear boy. Vidya, avidya, jnana, ajnana, shuddha sattva, malina sattva, impure consciousness, all indicate the same idea, not different ones. I shall ask you another question. Have you heard the word, the opposite of prakriti?
Thank you, sister. I think Swami is sort of going on to explain further, or the Bhakta himself is giving the example of an iron, and the Lord is like the magnet. And the process which we have to go through, Swami, I think he says, we have to get beaten up by the hammer of pain so that it may obey and respond. And I think so that's the only way the iron mind can come up to the surface and removed, I guess, through these problems. So that's what I can say. Then Swami is also going on to tell us that not to, he's introducing the concept of vidya and avidya, and he says not to get confused by the words themselves. Okay. I will open it up for discussion, please. Anyone can say anything you would like to share.
I have a question here, brother. What is meant by this Bhakta's questions? Like he's telling in God's hands, it has to be heated in the fire of anxiety. What is that one means?
No, here anxiety is worries. Worries and pain. Through trials and tribulations. That's the meaning of it.
Yeah, I will hope, brother, I will ask others to also share their thoughts, please, on this. I think, so maybe I will attempt to say something. The thing is, only when we are pained, I was talking about sadness, because the sadness is what it will reveal that if the I and my thoughts are affecting us. Because without that, it will not be revealed to us. See, so that's anxiety is worry. As brother said, it's worry of, or even a kind of suffering in our mind is the one which sort of becomes unbearable. That's why the word fire is used. And so the pain is what causes some anxiety. So the iron mind will not be revealed or will not be even removed without that fire of suffering or sorrow. Because if you look at any great devotee, they became devotee only through suffering. There's no story of any devotee in the world who became a devotee because they were happy. Because the troubles which we consider troubles are the ones which drive us to reach out to God. And I think that is the only way that will become revealed to us, is what I understand. Others can please chime in with your thoughts, please.
Sairam, testing the faith of the devotee with the troubles and turbulences. That's God's taste. Testing the devotee is the taste, Swami said once. Sairam. to see the devotee has faith and belief and practicing. Ram?
Yeah, I think
Looks like we lost Brother Arno.
I don't know. Yeah. So,
We don't have any sound. Can't hear anything.
yeah. So I think he has some issues there. So let us discuss. Anybody, we can give our thoughts on this one. No?
I think he joined.
Sorry about it. Okay, Sairam everyone. I'm very sorry about it.
Maybe our brother, I don't know, you didn't pay your bills. That's why it got cut off.
This part of the fire of anxiety. Okay. So I think I may have missed some of what you all discussed.
No. Only Surya was saying something. Surya, can you repeat?
Yeah, trials, troubles, and all the pains that we go through is a test to see that we have true faith in God. I thought Swami once mentioned testing the devotees is God's tasting.
Yeah.
So based upon these explanations, I have another question here. So we go through all sorts of pain in our lifetime, and then what is the dominant force that forcing us back to that same old thing? Because we have understood many things throughout our life experiences. We have learned, no, this is mithya. Sorry, this is avidya. This is unreal. Everything we learned it, but then what is that dominant force still driving us back into that same field? That's what I am trying to understand. Could you please elaborate? Anybody? Thank you, Sairam.
Actually, there is a word used for Maya now, but it is anyway any lesson learned through anxiety or pain will remain in our mind or heart. Definitely, it will not wither away, but it might take some time for that to fructify. Actually, so sooner or later we will be back to our real sense, even though temporarily we were drawn out of this serenity, no? So it's a good question. Brother Arno could answer this one. Our root question is why, after learning a bad experience, then why we are going back into the world, the mire of worldly activities.
I think Swami has provided the answer from what I can see. Swami says the eye and mind are the fog, which I think the previous paragraphs, which basically block the grace of God. So I think there's only one which is going to block till we die, the thought of eye and mind. with the problem, I think we all go back to the same thing, is because we have a shower and then we again roll into the mud, roll in the mud, because that's what we are used to. Because when we get up in the morning, we'll think, what can I do? What do I get? I think those are thoughts which all of us suffer from. And I think until that is fully erased, there's no liberation from this struggle or the pain which we undergo. So I think the only way Swami has said is think of me as the only source of everything. But I think the test is only when there is something sad happening, something we're upset about. I think if we go to the root of, I think this is what the Lord Buddha did. He found suffering in the world, and he went in search of what is the cause of this suffering. And then he realized that because this world is all nothing, this world is nothing, nothing in the sense, nothing that we think it is. And until we come to the reality that the world is unreal, we will not. So Swami says that because the I think, the thought of I comes, that's where then we get caught in this world is real concept. And so I think that's all I understand. So at every point we should say, okay, if I'm sad, it's because of thought of I and mine. Otherwise, I will not be sad. I think that's the only thing I can think of. Because why we are going back to it again? Because it's our habit. It's like a person who is addicted to smoking, try and give up smoking. He will give up for a few minutes or a few hours, and then he will again go back. Because the habit is so ingrained. I think that's the reason, brother, because the habit of thinking about I, my, is so ingrained in us, number one. Number two, people around us are also thinking like that. And because we are always in their company, such thoughts again come back without us knowing it. This is what I think I understand. So whenever we are sad, let's try to cheer up. Thinking, oh, okay, Swami, I am not going to feel sad. And I think that may be one place. Because when we are sad because we think something is so real. Something has happened which is so bad, and that's real. But as soon as we say, Swami, I'm going to be happy because Swami is the reality. Nothing else matters in this world. As soon as we think that thought comes, I think we'll be happy. I think so. Cultivating God, Swami as the only reality, and thinking about that and deriving joy, may be the only solution. And I think if we can develop that habit continuously without any break, I think then we are okay. But I think it's a long journey with a lot of practice, requiring a lot of practice, I think. That's my thought. I don't know, anyone else would like to share your thoughts or ideas, please?
Just on that note, brother, when I started and learning about Bhagawan, I'm just sharing how I felt. And basically it's piggybacking on what you are saying is that, I read how spirituality is very difficult. And as a mother, I was just thinking, why spirituality is so difficult? How I'm going to train my kids that it's such an easy path to follow, to be on, and it gives you peace. And when I dig deeper, why people say, or why it's deeper when you start practicing, because it requires a lot of efforts to change yourself. That's why it's difficult. It's not difficult otherwise, because it requires lots of modification, lots of changing your bad habits into good habits with Bhagawan had. So that's why it's difficult. But if we follow with lots of faith and love, it's not difficult. So it depends on, why people say it's difficult, because it's a change within ourselves we have to bring. That's why it's difficult.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
So, Sairam, brother. So, spiritual is not that easy. It's like walking on an edge of the blade. You have to go through all the problems, and you have to take it as whatever we studied as an experience to move on to the spiritual path. So whatever good and bad, we should not differentiate. We have to have the discipline all the time. We have to have the faith and patience to achieve our goal. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Sairam, brother, Sairam. Anyone else would like to say something, please?
Sairam, I have a little clarification on the not the thing just now we have discussed. It's about the pure consciousness. Swami said Sit has another name, Sutta Sattva, and I also, maybe I could be wrong or my interpretation could be wrong, but where the Ananda part is missing, because sometimes I have listened some discourses, they say Sat Sit Ananda. That is the pure conscious can be achieved or in the Sat Sit Ananda. Here I can see Swami said Sit also be called as Sutta Sattva, or Sat is there, Sit also is there. Where's the Ananda part here? That is the state of the pure consciousness, or the Ananda could be considered as the state of the pure consciousness, or whether this is maybe the Swami's version of the pure consciousness. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister. I think it's a statement and a question, I guess. I'll open it up for others to comment on this, please. So we are going on to Swami's part. Swami says Chit has another name, which is Shuddha Sattva, pure consciousness. And Swami is saying it is opposed to impure consciousness. And I think sister's question is, where is Ananda in it? Can anyone please comment on what sister has?
Baba used to say that where there is Chit and Sat, automatically Ananda is there. But here the point Swami is trying to make is that both are in one. The impure consciousness is inherent in the pure, as much as darkness is inherent in light. So that is the thing that he is highlighting, that they are together. That's the meaning mainly here. Thank you, Saira.
Okay, thank you. Sairam, anyone else would like to say something, please? So maybe I will comment on sister's question. And the Swami is, so the devotee is persistent in asking, Swami, you said you will talk about Chit. I think it just translated in the English in many ways. One is awareness, one is consciousness, and so on. But Chit is just not, to know. Okay, so to be aware, to be in that knowledge. Swami is saying it has another name called Shuddha Sattva. So actually, the word Shuddha means pure consciousness. I think Shuddha is just an adjective. The word Sattva is, Swami is saying, is Chit, because it is derived from Sat. The Sattva means the state of truth is also consciousness, to be one in that state of Sat. So as sister says, Ananda, Swami has already talked about Ananda before, that bliss is my food. So when we are in that awareness of God, the experience is, I think, is joy or Ananda. So though Swami has not explicitly talked about it here, because already he has sort of introduced the topic, that when we know that the world is unreal and God is real, we will derive joy in that practice. So to know that God is the real thing is Chit, and the experience we get is joy. So I think Swami has already mentioned the word Ananda, though that has not been picked up in the translation. So Ananda is already, Swami has covered it. But then I think he's just going on to elaborate the Chit aspect, because after all, we are trying to understand with our intellect. So I think Chit becomes relevant. So Swami is talking about it. So he says, Vidya and Avidya, I think Swami is saying is darkness is inherent in light. Vidya and Avidya are another name for that, is what Swami says. I think sometimes people have the problem, how is darkness inherent in light? Swami gives one example, I think, because in the previous paragraph, Swami has talked about iron, lumps of iron. Swami has used the same analogy in a couple of other discourses to explain this. He says you take a piece of iron, it is usually black in color. So you can say it's darkness. Then you expose that to fire. The same iron piece suddenly is glowing red. But the darkness is inherent in the red color, because the iron is after all black. The presence of fire makes it glow as red. So within that red, actually there is the lump of iron which is black also inherent in it. And so also the black iron is also inherent in the light is also inherent in the black iron, and the iron is also, the blackness also inherent in the light, because both are the nature of the iron. But it is just the presence of fire which differentiates what is light, what is red color, and what is black color. And Swami says that is like Vidya and Avidya. When divinity is present, it is Vidya. When divinity is absent, this Avidya. So this world takes on the way, nature of Avidya and Vidya based on the presence of God. Is what Swami is sort of telling us here. I think so the pure consciousness is the consciousness which understands that there is Sat. God exists. Only when we know that God is there continuously, everything in this world looks godly. When we remove that word God, everything in this world looks ungodly. It's the sort of thing I sort of understand from this. I will open it for others to share your thoughts and learnings, please. Sai.
I'm not sure if I'm maybe mixing it up, but in the previous chapter, we had learned about the internal world, the external world, and Bhagawan. So is that, are these two things, the dichotomies that Swami is mentioning here, is that similar to the internal world and the external world, like Purusha and Prakriti? Like is Jnana, Ajnana, Vidya, Avidya, can it be also Purusha and Prakriti?
So sister, the external world and internal world, both are Prakriti. Both are composed of the 5 elements. So Purusha is only the Atman. So the internal world and external world is what we see. The external world is what we observe through the senses. Internal world is what is within our mind. In both these, all the 5 elements are at work. So all of them fall under the category of Prakriti. But the Purusha is the one who is observing it, is what I understand. And so in the internal world also, there can be Avidya in the internal world or Vidya in the internal world. The external world actually is nature by itself in a pure sense, but there's no inherent goodness or badness in that, because God is immanent in it. But it's who we perceive, the ones who we are, who perceive this. That is where we create all these differences. That it is good, it's bad. The duality is only inherent in our perception, the internal world. The external world, just things happen. But the internal world, which sort of separates and dissects and analyzes, is what we understand. I don't know whether I don't know if somebody else can answer Sister Kalyani's question. Please go ahead. Sister Kalyani, are you satisfied, or if there's a question
Yes,
still?
yes. So sorry I guess leaving out the internal external world, which are both part of Prakriti. Then if we just look at Prakriti and Purusha, if we just look at those two, is this comparable, or is this something completely different? Like what Swami's mentioning here about Vidya Avidya, is that the same thing he's referring to, or is this different?
So Vidya and Avidya, I think Swami may be introducing it later, so I should not. Both are Mayas. In Vidya also there's Maya. In Avidya also there's Maya. I think we sort of discussed this, I think, in one of the Tamil study circles. So maybe I will share that thought here. Swami is talking about Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana walking along in a file in the forest. So Rama is walking in the front, Sita is following behind, and Lakshmana is bringing up the rear. If Lakshmana wants to look at Rama, Sita is in the way. So Swami says in this analogy, Rama is Purusha, or the Paramatman, and Sita is the Maya, which is blocking the vision of the Jivatma, which is the Lakshmana. So Lakshmana represents Jivatma, Sita represents Maya, and Rama represents the Purusha. So the thing is, the Maya has to move out if Lakshmana can have Rama's darshan. But Swami says you cannot fight with this Maya and say, move away, I want to look at Rama. Because Rama will not be happy because Sita belongs to Rama. Even though she is Maya, she belongs to Rama. So the thing is, what you have to do is you have to pray to this Sita so that she will move away and give you the darshan of Rama. So in this case, Lakshmana identifies Sita as Maya, but as Maya which covers the Lord, as part of the Lord. So in that case, this Maya becomes what is called Vidya Maya. Maya which is knowledge, Maya filled with knowledge, you can say. That knowledge, that is Maya, is an aspect of the Lord, and with its help we can see the Lord. Whereas Ravana, Swami, in some discourse, Swami says, Ravana wanted Sita because Sita is Maya. But he wanted to have Sita without Rama. He did not even acknowledge the presence of Rama. So that is called Avidya Maya. You go after illusion just for the sake of illusion without understanding that God is underneath it, that it relates to God. So Ravana was suffering from what's called Avidya Maya, whereas Lakshmana was suffering from only Vidya Maya. So Vidya Maya recognizes that there is God within the Maya, and that God can be sought, God can be reached with the help of that Maya. And then that becomes Vidya Maya. So Vidya and Maya, Avidya, both relate to the Maya, because the Purusha is beyond that, is what I understand. So that sort of shows where Vidya means presence of Rama makes it Vidya. The absence of Rama makes it Avidya. Just the way presence of light, fire makes the iron piece glow as red. The absence of fire makes the iron lump black. Same way in this world, when the sun is present, the world looks bright and it's a day. When the sun is absent, it is dark. It's the same thing which changes its nature as to Vidya or Avidya, Jnanam or Vijnanam, whether the presence of divine or the absence of divine. So that is only a differentiating factor. But the thing which switches from Vidya to Avidya, darkness to day, dark black color iron, red color iron, all this is the same material, but it changes as soon as the presence of the divine is there. So the presence of the divine is Vidya or Jnana or light or Suddha Sattva, I understand. I hope that sort of clarifies your question.
Yeah, thank you. Just one Sorry,
So
just one last. Would it be correct then to say that the chit is part of Maya, or is, yeah?
Chit is not part of Maya. Chit is the presence of sun.
Okay.
See, without the chit, you are engulfed in Maya and you are in darkness. As soon as chit is present, you are engulfed in Maya, but you are in the light.
Okay.
Okay. So Sat,
Okay.
Chit, and Ananda all relate to different words of the Purusha, from what I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, Sairam. Sister
Sairam.
Sairam.
Yes, Sairam. I have a question here. You are saying Vidya Maya, Avidya Maya, and Sita is Vidya Maya. Does Ravana choose the end of the Maya, like become, the Marishan, the golden deer, to get Sita? Okay, there's a end of the Maya coming here to, to trick Sita to get into Ravana, get the Sita. There's the end of the Maya. There's Avidya Maya or the different Maya. He's using, he's a god. We are thinking he's a god, incarnation of Lakshmi. But Ravana is using that same Maya to trick her and get Sita. Okay, can you explain this? What kind of Maya he's using, Ravana using?
So that's we should first of all understand, when we say Sita, it's not absolute Maya, but Swami uses that example. But in the case of Sita's being tricked by Ravana and the golden deer, there Swami says Sita is the Jivatma. The thing is, these are all examples provided to us so that we learn the concepts, I think. So here, Sita, instead of Rama, she was using Rama to get the deer, which is the world. So when we use God to get the world, we end up losing everything. And that's what happened to Sita. So it's not that it was a role play by Lakshmi or Sita to show us, don't ask God to go and get the world. Okay, rather ignore the world and go after God. So that was the mistake which all of us commit. We go to God and say, God, I want that golden deer. So the God will say, he's always patient. He will say, okay, I will go get it for you. Then he will go. And that puts us in a very difficult situation. Yes, again, that's also Maya. Again, when Sita was not let go of Rama for the sake of the golden deer, which itself is Maya, you end up losing the Lord as well as the Maya. So I think that is slight digression maybe in the topic. Sorry, I opened up a can of worms, but that's also true. So if you go after the world thinking that is real, and then you go and pray to the Lord, God, I want that thing, which get me, I will be happy, without forgetting that the Lord is with me. Why do I need this to be happy? I think that is the problem which all of us fall into, and to demonstrate that. This drama was played by Rama and Sita to educate us, is what I understand.
Sairam is a beautiful explanation. We are living in the worldly life. It's a very good example. She played an act to explain to us what is the golden deer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So, again, to explain this Avidya Maya, see, for example, even if you take Swami as a form, many of us feel Swami is divine. Okay, even though that form is there, we think there's a divinity underneath, and because of that, we see divinity in Swami. Whereas somebody else may look at it and say, it's just another human being. He's just doing some magic tricks, and people are coming and going, and they have not seen the divinity there. So they are suffering from Avidya Maya because they will see, okay, this is a form, here he's driving in a Benz car and all that. Okay, so they have forgotten the divinity underneath. But a devotee who was able to see the divinity, for him, this is Vidya Maya. The thing is, why he called Vidya Maya is, Swami is not limited to that form, but that form allows us to see the Lord. That's why Swami said, don't think this Sai Baba is just this 5'3". There is much more beyond. But to be able to see that, we need a container in which it is contained. So when we see divinity, even though it's Maya, after Swami's form also is not there today. You know, he also looked different at different points in his physical life. But through all that, the divinity was shining through. So the thing is, to be able to recognize the divinity even in that Maya form, which is actually prone to get destroyed like anything else in this world, we got a taste of that divinity. So that I considered Vidya Maya. So all forms of prayer to form God with form is actually Vidya Maya, because we understand the divinity within, and through that process we are not losing the contact with the Lord. So that becomes Vidya Maya, which is Vidya Maya is a step towards reaching God. Whereas Avidya Maya will just take us to sorrow and sadness in this world. This is what you understand. I hope so. Sahiram. So I think there's silence. So maybe we will, Sister Kalyan, maybe you can read on. We have about 7-8 minutes, so you can read on. Maybe we will not completely discuss it, but at least it will be, leave us with some thoughts for us to contemplate for the coming week, Saira.
Bhakta, I have heard the word Swami. When I studied grammar, I learned the opposite of Prakriti is Vikriti. Swami, what does Vikriti mean? Bhakta, Vikriti means Vikaram, changed, transformed, derived. Agni is the original, Agi is the derived word. So too, Jama is derived from Yama, Jana from Yajna, and so on. Swami, so also the Lord's Prakriti is known as Vidya, and its derived or lower form, or Vikriti, is known as Avidya. For Vidya or Shuddha Sattva, Avidya or Malina Sattva is the lower form.
Thank you, Sister. So Swami is going on to explain Vidya and Avidya with the words Prakriti and Vikriti. Then Swami gives some examples of, actually Swami is using how certain words, Agni and Agi, Janna and Yama, Jama and Yama, Janna and Yajna. Because what happens is, in language, the words over a period of time morph into something. They get deformed, or they change their form into something unrecognizable. It is very, very apparent in words in general in all languages. A word would have started out with some meaning, but then it will change into another completely different meaning, or change into a different kind of pronunciation also. You can also say it's an unrefined way of pronouncing a word. For example, Agni is fire. Agi is what a common lay person who is not so literate will use. But that has become part of their usage. So Swami says, even Vidya gets into a deformed state into Avidya. So it's like actually the real color of an iron lump is red, because it should always be along with the fire. But when the fire is absent, that deforms itself into a dark lump of iron piece. The same way, this world, its natural state is to be bright and sunny. But when the sun is slightly absent, it deforms into darkness. So same way, Vidya deforms into Avidya, is what Swami says. And that's part of this world's process. It cannot be avoided, I guess. So Sathya Swami says, Shuddha Sattva or Vidya becomes Malina Sattva or Avidya. So those were some concepts Swami has left with us. I will open it up for anyone to say anything which you would like to say, please, just to share any impressions which you have, Saira.
Hi, Ram. I vaguely remember seeing Prakriti as nature, but Swami said nature is the best teacher. So is it how Vidya or knowledge became same as Prakriti from nature?
So, brother, the nature, I think the way we see nature is environment is, I think, is we consider nature. But the word Prakriti here, Swami uses the nature of every single thing in this world. Like sugar, sweetness is sugar's nature. Light is fire's nature. Heat is fire's nature. So I think Swami is addressing that. I think it's even though we understand that, but when we say nature, we look at all these trees and things like that, the earth as the nature. But Swami will say, you are also nature. So I think that's what I understand.
Okay. So it's a consciousness. Lord's Prakriti. Lord's nature is consciousness.
Exactly. So it's everywhere, anything. But I think, again, that's a Vikriti. It's a deformed understanding of nature, which is not wrong. But it may not give the full picture. I think that's my understanding. Others, please say something.
Thank you. Thank you.
Saira, my brother, would you be able to explain these other two words as well for us? Jama Jama is different from Yama Yama, and then Jnana from Jnana, because I have a different understanding of Jnana and Jnana, but here it says deformed. What does that one means? Could you please elaborate?
So the brother, what Swami says, Agni, over a period of time, people have started calling it Agni. Okay, but they refer to the same thing, but they don't understand the full pronunciation. Same thing with Yama and Jama. Yama is, there are many meanings for Yama. One is, I would just stick to one, which is in Pancha and Ashtanga Yoga, Yama becomes self-control. Control of external focused senses is Yama. But that is, some people say Jama. For example, if you Vrindavan and Vrindavan, actually the original word is Vrindavan, but it has become Vrindavan, and that word has changed. So Yajna is the original word, but if you go around India, different parts of the world, it's pronounced differently. Some people will say Janna, it's also Yajna. Some people say Yagya, Yajna, like that. Many people say different. Pronounce it differently because that has become very prevalent among people. So that is a deformed state. Though more or less they are referring to the same thing. It's just a deformed. Just Swami is giving a few words, which is very commonly understood in India. So that's all I understand. Like, for example, Sita is called Siya in many places. So things like that. Raja is called Raya. These are what are called Vikriti nature of certain words. I hope I have more confusion. Hope I have not caused.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So it's 10:14. I think we will just. I think it's a few more things for us to think about over the week. So I think with those words, hopefully Swami will understand, give us Vidya by his constant presence, that at all times we remember him as part of any experience we get, anything we see in this world. Through that, hopefully we will remain in a state of Vidya. With those thoughts, we will close the session with Samasta Lokaya and Shanti Shanti. Samasta Loka सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति